Hi Aries, welcome to your fortnightly tarot scope with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick note, these readings are for your sun, moon and ascendant sign. So whether you're a sun, moon or rising sign Aries, this is for you. And I always advise that you watch all three to get a clearer, more complete picture of how they're going to speak to you and which part of you I resonate with more as a reader. If you haven't yet, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose in this video, this reading resonates, hit the subscribe button. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity, and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So for your cross purposes, over the course of this week, what is happening on the macrocosmic level that you are not necessarily in control of, but may be affected by anyway, all right? And for this, you have the Fool card, right? So what this suggests is there is a shift, there is a change, there is new everything coming in for you over the course of this fortnight. And when things start to change or they start to shift, the message really is to go with the flow. This is about jumping in and understanding that not everything that is new is threatening. Now, as an Aries, to be fair, I don't really need to tell you this. You guys tend to go where angels fear to tread, as the saying goes. But this will definitely be a fortnight where new things, new places, people and energies are being invited and introduced to your world. It may be a little bit unsettling though, all right? That's the only thing with this. Now, on a microcosmic level, where is it potentially that you're getting in your own way? You've got the Six of Swords. So you've got the Six of Swords here with the Fool card. What this basically says is the cross purposes that you're setting forward for yourself over this fortnight is you're being a bit too optimistic or potentially a little bit naive, right? And the reason I say this is because sometimes the Fool card can see us being quite foolish, and this, you know, and then you've got the Six of Swords, which is basically a card of everything. Sorry, that's my phone, which is basically a card that says that things are getting better. So you have turned a corner, but this is like one of those things where, like, let's say you have an injury. If you kind of say to yourself, yeah, you know, I'm healing really well, and then you go straight back to it as hard as you were the first time, the chances are you're going to end up doing yourself an injury of some sort. And so what this almost suggests is don't be too naive in thinking that just because things have improved mildly that you can go straight back into where you were previously. All right, so take it at a pace, I guess, is the real message. So for your actions and interactions with the world at large, you've got the High Priestess. So you're working on something behind the scenes. You've got this with the Eight of Pentacles, literally working on something behind the scenes, and the Hanged Man. So this is obviously to do with work and or job or profession. For a select few of you, this could be that you are starting or setting up a business of some kind. It could also potentially be that you are working towards something that you want to reveal. Now, both the Hangman and the High Priestess both have quite a spiritual element to them, which does suggest that for a select few of you, it's almost like there's a part of you that's like, you know what, I'm just going to let the universe steer from here, which is great. But at the same time, you don't want to completely take your hands off the wheel, right? Like, there's having trust in the universe, and then there's kind of not reading the signs. It kind of reminds me of that, you know, the parable of the guy that sits on the roof. You know, there's a massive flood and he sits on the roof and a boat comes to save him. He says, no, God's going to save me. You know, 3 people come, and then when he dies, he goes up to heaven, and he says to God, you know, why didn't you save me? And he said, like, dude, I sent you 3 ways to get off of that roof and stop yourself from drowning. What do you want from me? This is kind of like that energy, all right? For your work, for your career and communications, you've got the Seven of Pentacles. So taking your time here with the Eight of Swords. So you've got 2 8s because you've got the Eight of Pentacles and the Eight of Swords. 2 8s represents new knowledge. So when it comes to the work, the profession and the career, you've got the Ace of Cups. Beautiful, right? So this does suggest needing to take your time. This isn't about rushing anything. It's not about sort of doing anything too fast or too quickly when it comes to the career, but it also suggests as well, this is you working on something that's going to be about the long haul, all right? So this kind of suggests that whatever you're putting your time, effort, energy and patience in, it will pay off, but it's going to pay off over time. So don't expect instant results because they're not going to be there, all right? This is one of these ways that you can sort of dampen down those cross purposes. Now, For those of you that are studying or in some form of academia, this actually really suggests to me that you've done very well on a specific area or in a specific area when it comes to your studies. The challenge that it looks like you have is you might think that you are closer to the finish line than you actually are. This happened to me once when I was I think when I was about 15, 16, because it was a GCSE essay, and I remember thinking to myself like, oh, you know, the first part of it I'd like really flown through and I felt really good about it, and then when I looked at the whole thing again I was like, oh my gosh, I'm only a third of the way through. So I had to kind of pull it back a little bit, and this feels like that. You're doing really great work, but you're not as close to the finish line as you might think you are at this moment in time. For those of you that are employed by somebody else, I would be very mindful about committing to a project where you're helping somebody else with their work. And the reason I say this is because you might be doing a good deed and this person might see an opportunity to palm whatever they need to do off onto another person. So you want to make sure, like, you know, if you say, yes, I'm happy to help you, you want to make sure that they're going to continue to pull their weight on whatever it is. When it comes to those of you that are business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, people that work for themselves, love this, because it means that something that you're deeply committed to is going to start to show sprouts. All right, so whatever seeds you've planted through your hard work and diligence, you're now starting to see the results of them. And whatever you are seeing, it's only going to be a little bit, but it is going to be slow, steady, sustained growth from here on in. And then you know, one thing that I will urge all of you Aries for this next fortnight, you will need a modicum of patience. And then for those of you that are retired and no longer working, I actually feel like this is you starting to get really good at a hobby. It's like something that you've already dedicated quite a lot of time to learning. You're now actually starting to get really good at it, which is fantastic. For your love and relations, you've got the Seven of Swords. So you've got two sevens here. Two sevens represent news, information. So there's new knowledge coming in through the work, but there's also news or information that's coming in through the relationship. That Seven of Swords is a card of deceit. And then you've got this with the King of Pentacles, okay? And then the Five of Swords. So this is information, I'm really sorry to say this, but for those of you that are partnered, married, or in long-term commitments, this is information that will come to you either through your partner or about your partner, and when it does, you will realize that something had been kept from you. And when it comes out, you may not necessarily, like, Aries has a fiery temper. Everybody knows this about you. But usually as quick as you lose your temper is as quick as it dies down. This doesn't look like that. This, whatever this is, you are going to be pissed, and quite likely for some time to come. This may center around an earth sign person for a select few of you. Now, for those of you that are single and looking to mingle, I gotta be honest with you, you may connect with someone over this fortnight, which is fine, which is great. Excuse me. You don't know everything there is to know about this person, and it's quite likely that there is something that they are keeping from you. The Seven of Swords is quite close to them, and then obviously you've got the Five of Swords. So this might be something where they say to you like, oh, you know, I'm separated from my partner, but they don't tell you that they actually still live in the same house. Or, you know, I don't know, I'm still in contact with my ex, or whatever it might be. Like, there's something here that you're not going to be best pleased about. For your money and materials, you've got the Five of Cups. So two fives represents a vigil. And you've got this with the Queen of Cups. So the Queen of Cups is usually a water sign woman, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. And you've got this with the Nine of Wands. This could actually be that you are out of pocket financially this month because of somebody else's health. So watch out for this. This could be maybe somebody calls on your assistance. It could be a parent. It could be a loved one. Maybe one of your kids is sick, you know, really sick, and you have to stay home for a week. It's like there's not going to be any getting around this. And unfortunately, it does look like the finances are going to take a dip because of it. When it comes to your physical health and vitality, I would definitely say this fortnight be really, really conscious of where you know you are prone to overindulgence, because the chances are you could really overdo it and you might end up throwing your hormones out of whack, especially if you find yourself really emotional over this next fortnight. It probably has something to do with that. And then finally, when it comes to the home and environment, This will be, especially because it's the Nine of Wands, there's a sense here that your home sector in some way, shape or form feels compromised or vulnerable. And it will see you kind of thinking to yourself, okay, I need to find a way to navigate this. You might want to do it as a knee-jerk reaction, right? And it might be because you think, you know, oh, well, I thought everything was getting better, and then all of a sudden you have a bit of a relapse of some sort. Be very mindful about those knee-jerk reactions and just kind of blowing up for the sake of blowing up. All right. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic fortnight. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Take care, and I'll see you soon.